I'm Mark.
And I'm Zach.
Every week, on a Saturday, in the Fab Radio International Studios,
we discuss 3 of the week's comic book releases and decide if we want to...
pull or pass. Hello and welcome to Pull or Pass, your weekly geeky comic book show. It's issue 21 and I'm Mark.
And I'm Zach.
Hey Zach, how you doing?
I'm not so bad, you know? I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm alright. It's been another slow news week though, hasn't it?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, we've got some very basic, like, hey, news.
A little bit of news.
News with a question mark.
There was one that I did like, and it came out of nowhere. Apparently Union Jack is getting his own British team of superheroes in Marvel Comics, and they're going to be called The Union, launching very soon, actually.
Yeah, I've seen bits about this. I haven't really looked into it, I'm going to be honest with you.
I think they're all new characters, so there's just Union Jack who's established, and he gets like a new team. And, you know, good stuff, British team. Because Excalibur isn't really British anymore.
No, it started that way, but it sounds interesting. I'm on board with... I quite like Union Jack at times. I mean, let's be honest.
He's a bit naff.
He's fine. He's not exactly a main event player, is he?
No.
He's mid-card at best.
Yeah. So intrigued, we should probably put it on the show.
We probably will. Let's be honest. I don't have a lot of strong feelings. Like I say, I've not seen a lot about it. I've heard that I've heard the name. I've seen that it's Paul Grist and Andrea DeVito who are our creative team for this one.
Okay.
So I've seen some names. I've heard about Union Jack. I've seen that it's The Union. I
just want it to be good because it's British, you know.
Yeah, I'd like to think that the British characters can look good.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
It would. Have you got anything else?
I got a little bit. So DC Comics have released a kind of little trailer for the new Adam Strange series that's coming from Tom King and Mitch Gerads and Doc Shaner in the coming months. I thought it was much sooner than it was, but it's not out yet.
Right.
It looks like they're kind of giving Adam Strange the kind of, Mr. Miracle treatment, and it's going to be a Black Label title, so we're probably going to give it a go.
Well, that Mr. Miracle run, the 12-issue run that everyone seems to rave over, I didn't get on with it.
There's a lot of things I like about it. I can understand as well that there's a lot of things that are a bit harder to go with.
But, yeah, this is good. Adam Strange, give him a chance.
I do like Adam Strange.
Remember, they did that not so long ago with Metal Men, and I pulled that.
Yes. Incidentally... I found Metal Men quite weird after that first issue, though. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm still enjoying it, though.
Because I feel like the first issue was quite, introspective and
dark.
Philip K. Dick.
Yeah.
I feel like since that it's been like wacky Metal Men.
And they've dropped the...
It's like the serious theme's kind of still there, but it's very much back burner.
But 12-part maxi series does seem to be DC's thing at the moment, which is... I like this. I think it works.
A lot of maxi series and a lot of 3-part series, especially coming out from Black Label.
Yeah.
But Adam Strange, I am looking forward to. I've only ever read little bits of the character, but I've always been interested in him as an entity, I think, Man becomes spaceman because he finds out he's the saviour of a distant planet is interesting. It's a very classic pulpy kind of story, but yeah, I'm curious, and I think the themes of kind of what you remember versus what really happened and things like that are quite interesting, and that seems to be where they're going with this.
Yeah. So
I'm curious. The trailer doesn't really give much away that solicitations haven't, but
no, but I think we definitely put that on the show as well.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and I think I do quite like that we're getting more trailers for comic books.
Yes,
feels like there's more effort being put into the promotion rather than the standard solicitation. It's on the back cover of something else, but yeah. So intrigued, looking forward to it. Yeah, curious what we're going to get.
Very brief news is that Harley Quinn and the something of the Birds of Prey was released.
Well, yeah, and Have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't. I was going to ask you if you've seen it.
Yeah, I've been to see it. It does bother me that it came out as Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn.
Right.
And then apparently, well, not apparently, it happened. And then, supposedly because of, not a huge response the first weekend, they've changed the name.
Have they actually changed the name? I was taking the mickey.
No. So now it's Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey, and it's like...
Seriously?
So you've made...
I was actually taking the mickey.
No, they've changed the name. So now it's just Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey. And it feels like, right, so it's an admittance that this isn't a Birds of Prey film. This is a Harley Quinn film.
I mean, I'm going to go and see it because I almost feel like I'm obliged to because of this show. But I think my opinion of it's changed as it's become more and more cynical and more focused on Harley Quinn. I didn't know they'd changed the name. That really sucks.
That's what I thought, if I'm honest.
Does it reflect that in the film itself?
The film, I would go as far to say, is like 2/3 of a pretty good film.
Oh, okay.
So there's some action sequences with Harley that... There's a kind of a raid on a police station, and she's got a shotgun, and she's shooting glitter and paintballs at people, and it's kind of, this is perfectly Harley Quinn. I'm okay with that.
Right.
And I think the actual Birds of Prey look really good. Huntress is really good in it. Of briefly glimpsed, though, there's not... The Birds of Prey aren't in it enough for a film that was meant to be their film. So...
Sigh.
Huntress, good. Black Canary, really good. Cassandra Cain... good. Montoya, good. Everyone in it, I think, is well cast, and I quite liked them, but I could have gone for more Birds of Prey. I do have my major criticism would be the two villains of Black Mask and Victor Zsasz. It kind of feels like the film was written and it was going to be Joker and Flamingo versus Harley Quinn, and then it feels like maybe they found out Leto wasn't going to do it, so it suddenly got rewrote. But it feels... He doesn't look like Victor Zsasz. He looks like Flamingo from Grant Morrison's Batman. And Black Mask, the character's really weirdly written. I thought I was going to be super into Ewan McGregor. I was not into Ewan McGregor.
It sounds like a mess.
It kind of is, but it's a good mess at times. The soundtrack is pretty good as well. I liked the soundtrack.
Well, as long as it gives us something to play on the show.
Mixed feelings, but I think there's some really good things to take away. I hope that the name change and that people didn't respond to it being a Birds of Prey film doesn't mean that it sets up for there to be more Birds of Prey. I think it would be a real shame if those actors don't get to do more Birds of Prey.
I mean, I think they would. I think they would be better people than me if they didn't resent what's happened.
Perhaps. But I still think go see it. I think there's some positives to take away from it. I think maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there wasn't any rewrites and it was always going to be Black Mask and it just has that slight edge to it anyway. But time will tell.
The only other thing was something you posted on your comic book group, that there's a Bloodshot bundle on...
yes.
On
Humble Bundle.
Humble Bundle.
Yeah, you can get like all of Bloodshot for like $11 or something ridiculous.
It's a huge... I had a look at it, and it's a huge amount. And for the price, it is worth it, even if you read one, really.
Yeah, there's a bunch of other Valiant stuff that they've seems to have just chucked in as well. So there's some event books in there. It's worth grabbing if you've not read any Bloodshot, and the film's out in like 3 weeks. So, why not?
Yeah, I think it's like $15, which translates as about 11 quid. So it's super cheap.
Yeah, it's cheap and it's a good deal. The only other thing, the final bit of news, we did get that little screen test of Robert Pattinson as Batman.
Oh, we did, and I didn't watch it. Sorry. How did it look?
He's very much a man dressed as Batman.
Oh, does he not talk or anything?
No, it just kind of
what's the point?
Shows you the suit a little bit. So,
did it hype you up?
Not really. No, I know a lot of other people are really excited because of it, but it's kind of I don't really care what you look like in this suit. I like George Clooney, and it's a bad suit. But
I had heard that George Clooney was your Batman.
It's just got the right chin for it, hasn't it? But I don't think it matters which Batman you show me. If you just show me like a slow camera pan of them in the suit, I'm going to go, yeah, okay, sure he's Batman.
Not quite.
It's not a trailer.
No.
So, time will tell, I guess. Time will tell.
So that appears to be it for the news.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Right, well, I'm going to play some music. And I've been a bit lazy this week. I can't even remember. It has been in a comic book film. Can't remember what one. But it's called Heroes, and I like David Bowie.
And there was a show called Heroes about superheroes.
There was. So, Heroes by David Bowie.
Just for one day, we can be heroes forever and ever. What you say? Nothing will keep us together. We can beat them forever and ever. Oh, we can be heroes just for one day.
when I listen to FabRadioInternational.com. It makes me smile. I use a few of the things I'm probably doing at the time to make me smile, but generally I like to embrace the alternative and listening to FabRadioInternational.com. Man, you are Mavis. That's like embracing the alternative. She's not a real woman.
Antibiotics, we're wonderful pills, but don't ever think we'll cure all of your ills. So every time you feel a bit under the weather, don't always think that we can make you better. Take us for the wrong thing, that's dangerous to do. When you really need us, we could stop working for you. So please don't end up paying the price. Always take your doctor's advice.
Welcome back to Pull or Pass. That was Heroes by David Bowie.
It's bloody good, isn't it?
Any excuse to play some Bowie, love it.
Doesn't take much.
No. Shall we talk about this week's comics?
Let's do that.
Before we do, Zach, why don't you tell our listeners about our sponsor?
So, The Travelling Man.
They are.
They're based in Manchester, York, Newcastle and Leeds, and they sell comic books. They hook us up with our comics every week. It's where we have our standing orders, pulls, if you will. And they also do the...
That is the name of the show.
Yeah. They also do, graphic novels, manga, board games, RPGs, bit of everything, really. So, if you're in one of those places, head on over to your local Travelling Man.
Yeah. Get your pull with them. They're good folk.
He is.
So this week is Indie Week. And we have got The Plot by Vault Comics, Dr. Tomorrow by Valiant, and On the Stump by Image. There was one that was delayed again. We've been cursed.
It was God Killers.
God Killers.
Yeah, was looking forward to, and
so we'll once that's ready,
when it surfaces,
we'll try and have a look at that.
In theory, there will be a week where all our delayed comics will surface.
That could be true, couldn't it? But yeah, we will try and look at that when we can.
Yep.
Should we talk about? Let's talk about The Plot first.
Okay. Now, before we do, I'm just going to throw in something here that I only found out after, because this was our placeholder for God Killers.
Yes, this was the replacement instead of God Killers. Yes.
So, the trade for this is out like next week.
Oh.
This is not the first release of The Plot.
Oh.
Originally, it came out in full colour.
Oh.
So this has been this is just the inks, as you know. It's black and white, just the inks, and it's been released I think it's an imprint of Vault called something like Vault Lines. It's definitely a play on words, and I'm pretty sure it's a play on Fault Lines, so it's Vault Lines.
Okay.
But so just wanted to put that out there because I only found out after we'd read it.
Is the trade going to be in colour or black and white?
I think it's going to be in colour because this is described as the Plot Deluxe Black and White edition. So I think
because
the trade's going to be in colour.
The black and white thing was a major deal to me. I thought it worked really well. It was a kind of classic horror comic, like Walking Dead's vibe, and I loved it. And I thought that the black and white worked particularly well for the no words storytelling elements of the comic. So that's interesting.
Yeah, so I just wanted to give you that before we got too far into it, because...
Are they carrying on to release this in black and white as an issue 2? Or
I don't actually know.
Can I pull this in black and white?
I kind of want that to be an option. I feel like... so, as a horror story, I'm going to go for my brief synopsis here.
Right.
So, so, the children of Charles and Wendy Blair... owners of a pharmaceutical company, end up living with their estranged
uncle.
Wasn't it
Blaine?
Blaine. Yes, that's my bad handwriting. Sorry.
Yeah, Blaine.
End up living with their estranged uncle in an ancestral family home after their parents' suspicious death. So it's very classic horror.
And it's really well done, classic horror.
Just that description, though, I realised as soon as I wrote the description down, also pretty similar to the description for Lock and Key.
Yes.
Ancestral home, uncle that they barely see.
Yes, I guess so. I didn't think about it at the time.
No, it was, like I say, it was only something everything with this is apparently things I noticed afterwards. But
I mean, look, we've already touched on the art being brilliant because it was black and white. I'm curious to look at the colour version of this.
yeah, so when I found that out after we'd read it, I immediately thought, oh, so what would this be like in colour? Because I don't know.
I mean, this has clearly caught us out because we just went for an issue 1 because the one we'd
needed to fill
asked
that gap.
for hadn't turned up. I really, really liked this. I thought my job involves people dying and the scattering of ashes and things like that.
Yeah.
And I felt that they got that on point. And, I kind of know what I'm talking about. And I thought that they got the sadness and it really resonated with me. And then when they, the wind blew the ashes, that really happens. People do get a face full of their gran, and it's... Yeah, I thought that this book was excellent. I thought that the black and whiteness was excellent.
Really suits it down to the ground, yeah.
And someone like Uncle Chase, a kind man who's fundamentally flawed, anyone who's vaguely realistic about who they are probably can empathise with that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it was an interesting one. I think
there's mystery, there's horror, and there's, oh my goodness, the just of endings.
yeah.
When I thought this was a new issue of a black and white comic horror book, it was the pulliest pull in all of pull. But I do want to read it in black and white. I don't think I want it in colour.
I can agree with that. I see where you're coming from. I think I'm curious about the full colour edition now.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it, but I think if they're only doing... I mean, if they're doing this as just singles in black and white, and they'll never do it in black and white in a trade, that's a nice gimmick, and I would totally buy that, and I'd totally pull the comic book run.
Yeah, one of the things that interests me, yes, good English, is I know Vault do release deluxe edition hardbacks of certain things, I think. Or, unless I'm thinking of someone else. I'm sure they do kind of, hey, this is cool, so let's do a different edition of it. So maybe we'll get both. Maybe we'll get a deluxe edition black and white, or maybe we won't.
So for me, it is a pull for black and white. It is a have a little looky look at the colour with a strong suspicion that I'll be sticking with the black and white, I think.
I think that's totally fair.
So the pull, I don't know whether it's the trade in black and white. I don't know whether it's the comics, if they're going to if either of these things are going to exist. But I want it, and I want it in black and white.
Yeah, I would like the black and white edition. I'm curious about the colour edition. I'm going to give it a look when the trade comes out and see where we stand. So I think it's a double pull for pull or pass.
It is. So let's have a look at Dr. Tomorrow by Valiant. And I know your love of Valiant. So why don't you take this one?
Okay. My love of Valiant. So we kind of open with an epic showdown between the Valiant universe being led by one Dr. Tomorrow against mysterious new villain Hadrian. And from there, hilarity ensues.
For me, as someone who's not big into the Valiant universe, I've loved Quantum and Woody, and their stuff has no relevance to the greater Valiant universe, so I found it really accessible.
Yes.
This one, because I haven't really got a clue about what goes on in the Valiant, I was like, oh, hello, all these superheroes I don't know. I don't know how you can cure that when you're a smaller press, because you get some leeway if, I don't know, Spider-Man turns up in a Thor comic. Everyone's kind of heard of Spider-Man because of the nature of Marvel being massive and Valiant not so much.
Yeah, this does feel like, hey, here's the universe versus this villain, and it kind of feels like, if you're jumping into Valiant at this point, it's a little bit of a blindside of...
Yeah, it felt like a blindside for me, so it was a bad first impression.
There are some things that did annoy me about that opening, and it's a specific irritation, is there are characters in that opening montage that we haven't seen anything from in Valiant for like years.
Right, okay.
And it's
You
like-
see, I wouldn't have known
Well,
that.
yeah, that's a fan complaint, I guess, for Valiant of you're showing us characters here that we haven't seen for like 3 years and going, yeah, they're in this big fight, everyone's there, and it's like, yeah, but where have they been for 3 years, man?
Yeah.
It is a weird one. I feel like the actual character of Bart Sims, who we see is the teenager who will become Dr. Tomorrow.
Right.
I feel like he...
Oh, was that back in time?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't very well signposted, I will admit. But
Yeah.
yes. So Dr. Tomorrow comes from the future to see his past self, to tell him that he will become an astrophysicist and Dr. Tomorrow.
Right.
But to do so, he needs his help now. But I feel...
What's that the plot from?
I mean,
I've seen that in something else.
it feels very familiar.
It does
this kind
feel
of
very
time
familiar,
travel
yeah.
trope.
Yeah.
I think Bart Sims has the potential as a kind of teenage hero to fill that kind of Blue Beetle, Miss Marvel kind of space in the Valiant universe. I feel like they've got
No, I was going to say Shazam.
that too. Yeah, a little bit.
It felt very Shazam, and
Yeah.
I also, I know you love Valiant stuff, but it felt like here is like superheroes. Here is the toughness of life, and then hey, young child, we need you. It felt like a kids' TV program after something that after they'd covered quite tough subjects,
Yeah, I think
and that didn't work for me.
it's an interesting one because I think they've had a lot of teenage characters who've been kind of older teenagers in quite dark situations and have become heroes because of it. I think this is the first one that felt like an all ages kind of teenage character. I think my biggest takeaway kind of character wise was Hadrian looks great. The kind of,
Yeah.
purple grey hair, purple I don't know, scar, face paint.
Yeah,
Don't know
yeah.
yet. I thought the villain design was really, really strong. I do have mixed feelings. I think the artwork kind of comes and goes as well. I think there was a lot of facial expressions and like 3/4 portfolios that just weren't right.
Yeah,
But
I agree. I think Hadrian was cool.
But yeah, I think I'm not 100% sold, but I'm kind of curious enough. I like the ending, but I like the ending because I have read more Valiant.
I felt it was too short at 17 pages, and then they just added some Exo Manowar at the back.
Yeah.
I didn't like that, and it just isn't really my kind of comic book. I feel it's children's classic superheroes aimed at children, or at least that's the vibe I got from it, and that's not really what I want from my comics these days. With the sophisticated stuff that you're getting in X-Men, for example, or Daredevil, or
Yeah, that's fair.
and Bloodshot, there's lots of adult superhero type stuff which is more my jam these days, and I'm not in particular saying it's a bad comic book, because comic books are fundamentally for children, but I don't think this was for me.
Hey, comics are for everyone.
True.
I think on this occasion, it does feel quite all ages, and they get kind of made out. From what I remember from the solicitations, it sounded like it was going to be more about the time travel element of it. And I think one of my things that was always going to make me kind of judge this quite strongly is the Valiant already had a time travel series, which was like a 12-part Ivar Time Walker series, and that's probably one of my favorite comics ever.
Right.
So I think it was always going to be up against it for me, that if you've already done a really good time travel book, it's hard to then do another.
Yes.
So mixed feelings. I'm willing to see where this goes, and I hope that kind of it does claw itself back from being quite an all ages, kid becomes superhero.
Yeah.
That said, obviously I do like a lot of teenage superheroes. I do like Blue Beetle, and I do like Shazam, as you mentioned. I do like Ms. Marvel, Spider-Man.
I
All these
like
people.
Miss Marvel and Spider-Man, but
I say
don't like the
Spider-Man,
other two.
Miles Morales.
Yeah.
So I'm curious enough to see where this is going to go, but I think if you're new to Valiant, this isn't a great jumping on point.
I'd agree with that, so it is unfortunately a pull for me. Unfortunately a pass for me, excuse me. It's a pass.
It's a pull for me, but I get where you're coming from. I think if you weren't if you're not already into Valiant, it's a hard one to get on board with.
And finally, we looked at On the Stump by Image, and turns out that if you've got a political issue, let's have fighting senators.
Yeah.
It's absolutely bonkers.
It is, but
What an incredible comic book this is. It's completely nuts. The idea of having your politicians fight over, should we have gay marriage? Let's have this guy fight this guy. If this guy wins, we get gay marriage. If this guy wins, we don't get gay marriage. What a beautifully ridiculous concept this is.
see, I feel you. I think it is, bonkers and a really ridiculous concept. But I just wasn't into this.
Seriously?
Yeah,
I got so into this. It's insanely violent, relentlessly so. And I just love how within so few pages the brutality just kind of pours out of the book. And murder, attempted murder, a half-page spread of someone's face being smashed with a punch. I came away from the book completely stunned by the brutality of it, and I'm not easily shocked. I came away going, good grief, what a ludicrous concept, and what a lot of fun that was. And yeah, I loved it.
I don't know.
Go on, why didn't you like it?
I mean, I felt like it was a book that was trying to say something, but I'm not sure what it was trying to say.
Not yet, no, I don't. At the moment, ridiculous but fun concept. Great artwork.
See, I disagree with that.
You didn't like the artwork?
Because I think, and this is part of the problem, so there is Annabelle Lister, who's a kind of detective, and then there is Nameless Woman, and
Right.
there's two nameless women, and one of those nameless women is exactly the same as Annabelle Lister.
Oh, right,
okay. Painfully the same.
Maybe it's a twin, you don't know.
I mean, I don't know, but I also don't really care. It just seemed like they just weren't that bothered with character design.
No, they seem to be more bothered with very, very graphic violence. I will agree with that.
Also, I think the character designs that are shown in the back matter of this issue, the art for that is better than the art for the issue.
I see. I really liked the art. I just came away from. I just put the comic book down. I was like, "Well, that was bloody good fun. That was." So sometimes we have this where we expect it, because we love something so much, we expect the other one to love it too. I think I did it to you the other week where I came in and I was like, "Well, that was terrible."
Yeah, I can't remember what that was.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We balance, you and I. We agree on a lot, but sometimes we completely disagree.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just wasn't sold on this one. I feel uncertain about many things.
I mean, that's how I felt about Dr. Tomorrow, I guess.
I mean, hey, I'm uncertain about that as well. But
Yeah. But no, On the Stump for me
very uncertain week.
is fascinating, crazy, and it has to be a pull because it's so utterly bonkers.
Yeah, it sure is bonkers, I'll give you that. And I think we have reached a period in the kind of late 2010s into the whatever year we're in now, where we have got a lot of utterly bonkers comics.
Yeah.
And I think it is a good time for kind of the more ridiculous to come back around. But I don't know, this, as much as I'm into the more ridiculous, not this one, I don't know. It just didn't speak to me as much as it seems to have gotten you.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Do you want to play some music, Zach?
I mean, pull or pass, Mark. Come on.
I've already said I'll pull it.
All right, okay. Yeah, pass, whatever. Hey, I'm occasionally listening to what you say.
Wow.
Yes, I'm going to play Desolation Row by My Chemical Romance from Watchmen.
Do you have to?
Film. Yeah, it's great.
Town. Starburst Magazine, the world's longest-running magazine of cult entertainment. Available from any good newsagent, or you can download to your tablet today.
Welcome back to Pull or Pass. That was Desolation Row by MCR, My Chemical Romance.
It's good. It's a real good cover.
Do you shop at Hot Topic too?
We don't have those in England, and you know that.
I know. I'm just quoting. Do you remember My Immortal? Did you ever read that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was quoting. Don't anybody ever look at My Immortal unless you want the best read of your life. Anyway,
you don't mean that.
Let's not talk about Harry Potter fan fiction. We have actually got time to talk about another comic. We weren't sure we were going to be able to do this because I insisted on it and I wanted to read it. We also read Wolverine 1 by Marvel.
So you've ruined Indie Week.
I have ruined Indie Week and I don't care. And so we read it in case we had time, and we have, so we'll have a quick chat about it. First thing was massive.
72 pages.
Massive, which, when you're bringing back Wolverine, I suppose that is quite important.
What do you mean bringing back Wolverine? Wolverine's been back for ages.
No, what I mean is the comic itself.
Okay, yeah.
When they relaunched the X-Men series, there wasn't a Wolverine solo title, which is
great.
Well, it's kind of unimaginable, really. He's the most popular character in the Marvel Universe and doesn't have a title based on it.
He's not.
Who is?
Spider-Man. Hands down.
Second most, then.
Do you want me to get Fraser on the phone?
Whatever you say. The point is still very valid. The fact that there wasn't a Wolverine solo title for a while is an anomaly and not something you might have predicted a few years ago.
Okay. Yes,
will you at least acknowledge that?
I will acknowledge that people like Wolverine.
For goodness sake.
But...
so, massive comic, I was expecting one big story. No. Split into two.
It is two first issues for two different Wolverine series stapled together in the middle.
Which is utterly bizarre, because the cliffhanger of the first one is quite significant.
And then the cliffhanger of the second one
is quite...
also there.
Yeah, and so which one comes first? One's obviously got to come before the other. It's a peculiar way to deal with it. But they were both bloody good. Did you not think that?
Hard disagree.
For goodness. I'm utterly perplexed with you today.
I can give you my reason, and it's the same reason we've disagreed about other Marvel titles.
Go on.
I like Logan best when he's dead.
Right, fine.
Okay, so they killed him off.
They did.
And with his death, other characters got a chance. Laura Kinney, Honey Badger, everybody got a chance because Wolverine wasn't there. And bringing him back, I was okay with how they brought him back. It was fine. But he's one of the character deaths from recent years that felt like it worked and it was okay. So I don't need more Wolverine, for one. And this does the same thing that a load of other X-Men titles have done recently that makes me really, really sad.
Which is?
So we have a character introduced, which is what's his name? Agent Bannister.
Right.
We then have a full page telling us about Agent Bannister. Just text. Just a page of text that tells me what I need to know. And it tells us his daughter has leukemia and he's chasing a drug cartel selling a drug made from the petals from cocoa.
I found that dead useful.
That's fine, but they then show us the daughter with leukemia and tell us that through comic. Why give me an essay about his backstory and show me his backstory? It just feels like there's been a lot of X-Men at the moment that's like, we're just going to give you an info dump here and it'll fill in the blanks rather than doing a comic.
Whilst I agree with that, I don't feel like that was quite as heavy as it has been in other titles. And also because it was a larger book, it didn't feel like it was taking up a huge portion of the comic that I resented like I have in the past. And there were less ads in this as well.
There were less ads, and I agree that with it being a bigger book, it takes up less space. But I do think it's unnecessary.
this is something we've talked about repeatedly about the current Marvel mutant books. Is
Yes.
These white pages are lazy and they allow for less actual art, and they're quite annoying. I was less annoyed by them in this because I felt that, other than perhaps that one, they did make sense, and it was less intrusive because there were less ads. You weren't going white page, then
then
two
a
pages of
double-page ad.
ads, and because there was so much more art in there, it was less. It made me less cross than it has done in the past.
I get that.
But it still made it reminded me of how much I didn't like it, but I didn't like it as much as I hadn't in the past. If that makes sense.
I get that. One of my my complaints. It's weird that it's 2 first issues.
Yes, that was weird, and that did surprise me.
And the white pages thing annoys me. But one of my biggest problems with Wolverine is he's always written as 1 page. Oh, I don't deserve friends, and I've done such terrible things, and I'll never redeem myself. And then the next page is almost always seems to be, but I am the best I am at what I do, and what I do is cutting people, man. So I feel like he's an inconsistent character, and I think that's why he kind of bothers me.
One of the things I liked about the second half of the book was that they kind of looked at that. He compared himself to Magneto and Apocalypse. You know, they're all murderers. They've all done undescribably bad things in the past, but they're having a second chance. And I thought that kind of at least acknowledged what you're talking about.
It does, but
and then they investigate it further with Omega Red and him not forgiving Omega Red for what he's done in the past.
And I agree with that. I just think it's something that we return to a lot with Wolverine.
Yes.
He's sad Wolverine, then he's, but I got to cook some people, that's what I do.
There were some great lines. We've jumped to the second half because...
We have,
But
there
were some great lines in the second half. I mean, the little mutant who said, "You're like him," ouch, which it's not untrue. And there was also, "Immortality don't erase trauma," was a good one.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That was heavy.
Don't get me wrong, there's some really good things about these 2 issues. But I do have little issues with stuff like...
Should we talk about the second half first and then hop back to the first half, seeing as we have? Vampires, it reminded me of Dusk Till Dawn. I had this story where I was expecting there to be mutants, and I was expecting... vampires.
And we have seen a kind of return to the vampires in Marvel recently with Avengers.
But even so, I didn't expect to see it in X-Men.
Think it would suddenly be here. But that's the thing. I feel like we've got 2 issues here. One is kind of... First part is... Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get back to that.
And second part, it's like Wolverine versus Dracula.
Which I'm down with Wolverine versus Dracula.
Are these both going to be... How are we doing this? Is each issue going to be 72 pages? Is each issue going to be... Is the next one going to be part 2 of part 1, and then
or is it going to be,
or
is this issue 1 of both of them, and then there's going to be Wolverine Red and
versus
Wolverine
Dracula.
Blue, or Wolverine versus Dracula, or
that's
Wolverine...
what I'm calling it. That's what it will be.
Yeah.
But
so it's completely and utterly peculiar. I agree. But
I'm really confused. The fact that it's the same team as well, it's the same writer, the same artist, makes it so much weirder.
Out of the 2, I definitely preferred the second half.
I think that's fair. And I'm not sure why, but I think the second half was kind of stronger, but not
the
what
art
I
was
expected.
great as well. I think some of the stuff with the vampires and the shadows worked really well, and
and we do like a good dumb vampire story.
And Knackered Up Omega Red was a great image, and it was done really, really well. And it was a nice surprise and a nice kind of Dusk Till Dawn moment when, vampires.
Yes, yeah.
And there's a new character who's fascinating, this vampire hunter character.
I've not written down her name, and I know I should have.
Vampire hunter character.
But she's cool. She looks great.
She is. French vampire hunter lady. And so that was great. I did like the first half as well, though. I thought that something that they don't highlight, but they did really well with just one panel, was how every time he unsheaths his claws, he cuts his own skin to do so.
Yeah.
And the kind of like explosion of blood spatter when the claws came out schnicked, I was like, nice. So it acknowledged the schnicked that they always do.
Yeah.
But then there was a kind of a burst of blood, and that was drawn really well. And
that was done well.
It was really good, and I just thought the art was excellent on this one. The partially healing art, where he was kind of like growing his skin back, was done really, really well. He kind of looked like a burns victim as he was healing back. Again, I thought that was exceptional. A really nice take on Wolverine and the healing factor. And I like his relationship and how it's developed with Kate now that she's got a bit older.
Yeah,
Kitty Pryde was he was kind of like uncle and kind of niece relationship, really. But that's changed now that they've got older. And as an uncle myself, I'm kind of looking forward to being able to drink with my nephew, who's currently only 5. And so this is something in my future, which is kind of made its way through comic books. I really like that. Then the cliffhanger was like, oh. No, I really like both. I really like both of these, and I'm really looking forward to reading more of it.
Okay, that's fair.
Why didn't you like it?
Just like
Bearing
I
in mind
say,
we've got about 4 minutes left.
it is the same things that I've said. I think in the absence of Logan, I liked the opportunities for other X-Men. I liked that, X-23 became Wolverine. I thought that was really good. And I think she's a better Wolverine than Logan. I don't know. I liked Laura Kinney, and I like that. I like the space for other characters to do things, and I think X-Men is so oversaturated that it's okay for characters to die. So
none of them ever are again now with these eggs, are they?
Which again bugs me. Wolverine died, and I thought it was okay, and it gave us some development and gave people opportunity. But equally, Cyclops died, and I wasn't crying out for him to come back. He's one of my favourite X-Men, but I'm okay with the idea that characters die and they're dead.
That doesn't happen in the Marvel Universe.
But it could.
It could.
And I think it's a shame because it allows people... The return of Wolverine allows people to ignore that Laura Kinney became Wolverine. And I don't like that.
Yeah.
I think... I just didn't need another Wolverine title. I get that loads of people are going to be into this, and loads of people won't have had a previous Wolverine title, or an easily accessible one. And I don't know. I guess it wasn't for me because, as we've said on various Marvel topics, I've read a lot of Marvel, so I guess I don't need jumping on points the same way a lot of people do.
I think the quintessential thing about this is I really did enjoy both of these stories. And I've liked a lot of what's been going on with the new X-Men stuff, with the almost but not quite sort of reset. Haven't decided how it fits in the Marvel Universe properly yet.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pull this, but I know damn well that I'll be looking at it when it comes on Marvel Unlimited, because I think I'm going to have like a massive binge of this entire new look X-Men when... I simply can't afford to buy the comic books of the entire X-Men thing. And it has intrigued me. White pages aside, that doesn't matter when I'm reading it on a unlimited series, an unlimited electronic version. So these were great comics in my opinion, but it's not a pull. It's a wait for Marvel Unlimited without any hesitation on that. But I think this has made me more excited about that whole run hitting me in about 6 months' time on Marvel Unlimited.
Okay, yeah, fair. This is a pass for me. I can see a lot of the positives. I just think this one wasn't for me.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Before we go, let's just let you know what we are reading next week. We've got tomorrow from Dark Horse, Finger Guns by Vault, and Amethyst from DC.
Yes.
So, we've done Wolverine this week. We will avoid Marvel next week. But, I'm honestly, after how good the plot was, I think Finger Guns, for the simple reason it's by Vault, is the one I'm looking forward to the most next week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Finger Guns. I do really like Amy Reeder as an artist, though, and a writer, so I'm looking forward to Amethyst as well. And I have no idea what to expect, so let's find out.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So that's all we've got time for on Pull or Pass this week. We've pulled. We've passed.
Oh, we're going to do it all again next week. I say that bit. Sorry.
You do. You do.
Just waiting for you to say it then.
I know.
Oh, this is
We're so slick. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to Pull or Pass. To listen again, it's www.mixcloud.com/pull-or-pass.
Or you can listen to the podcast version on Spotify, Anchor, YouTube, and all other good podcast sites.
Join our Facebook group, search for Pull or Pass Radio Show.
Follow us on Twitter @PullOrPass.